Recently, one of my favorite types of anime is hobby anime. Anime that focuses on a particular hobby of a character, a particular niche that isn't really well known about, and goes into that kind of community, that kind of topic, and the background of how these kind of communities and how these hobbies work. In a way, it kind of feels like a variation on sports anime, except not being focused on any kind of competition or skill versus skill, but more just enjoying something with other people. And My Dress Up Darling slots right into that, into the very particular niche of cosplay. Now, I have a personal history with cosplay, and it really intersects with my growth of getting into anime in general. So seeing the topic actually explored in an anime was interesting, because it made me realize that you don't really hear about cosplay in anime that much at all. Like, you see it in some cases, but normally it's like a passing thing, it's never a focus. And we'll talk more about the cosplay aspect of My Dress Up Darling a little bit later, but let's focus in on our characters first. Before we dive into these characters though, I actually have a brief little special announcement I want to do. Won't take long, we'll get right back to the video in a moment, but I do want to announce that I am going to be at SakuraCon 2022, which is very appropriate since this is a cosplay anime convention kind of anime, so it fits. But yeah, that's gonna be from April 15th to April 17th, 2022 in Seattle, Washington. So if you're in Seattle at SakuraCon, you want to say hi, or you know who I am, then you can say hi. I'm cool with that. That's fun. Also, it's nice to be on camera again. Hi. Hopefully I do this more. And also, just tossing in the middle here before we get started, if you do like my videos, if you like anime reviews, if you want to hear more things from me, then be sure to like this video, comment, tell me what you think about it, or talk to me about some cosplay. And be sure to subscribe, because I got plenty of videos like this and more to come going forward. So thank you for bearing with me. Let's get right back to the video, okay? The series follows Wakana Gojo, a first-year high school boy who's really interested in making Hina dolls. Wakana is an orphan who lives with his grandpa, who runs an entire shop about making Hina dolls, so it's something he's grown up with his entire life. He loves the process of making these dolls, but it's not a hobby he's really proud to talk about because of childhood bullying that occurred when he was younger, where a girl he was friends with thought it was weird for a boy to be playing with dolls. This childhood drama has persisted with him all the way to high school. But one day after school, one of his classmates, Mayuri Kitagawa, discovers that he has this ability to make these dolls. And along with that, he's gained a lot of skills, like the ability to sew, make clothes for the dolls, and a lot of skill with painting and such. Which is perfect for her because she's trying to tackle her first cosplay project, and she has really no idea where to start. So she asks Wakana for assistance in making these cosplay outfits and giving her some guidance on what really to do here. Now, Wakana is not really into anime or gaming culture, he's really just focused on Hina dolls, but he sees an opportunity here to grow his skills, to try something new, so he accepts. The show is from this point a learning process for both characters, trying to get more information about cosplay, about makeup, about design, about all these different aspects that go into making a cosplay, while also getting to know each other a lot better and exchanging their different kinds of hobbies and interests. Wakana teaches Marin more about Hina dolls, while she teaches him more about anime culture, gaming culture, and all the different aspects of things that she's interested in. It's the building of a really strong friendship that could eventually lead to a very strong relationship. It's also a pretty accurate depiction of what gets a lot of people into anime, manga, and video games. I've seen people online saying that aspects of this anime are unrealistic, and yeah, there are some unrealistic aspects to this anime, and we'll get into that. But this aspect here is incredibly relatable. This is what I went through. This is how I got into anime to begin with. I've mentioned this a few times on this channel, but of course I'd seen things before like Toonami and all that stuff, but I never considered myself an anime fan until I met the person who would become my first girlfriend. I think it's really great that anime is showing more and more of how there's a lot of women who are interested in anime. There's a lot of people out there of all different kinds of orientations and genders who all love anime for a variety of different reasons. It gets typecast as a thing for guys, but people love anime of all different kinds of shapes and sizes. And I know there's probably going to be some gatekeepy weirdos who think that that isn't the case, but it absolutely is. I wouldn't be here where I am today watching as much anime as I did if I wasn't around so many people who were really into anime. And most of those people were women. But getting to the anime's depiction of cosplay itself, it's really surprisingly accurate. Now, it's a little different than the American experience of trying to make cosplay outfits just because of the different kinds of stores that you go to and the different environment, but that's not really a huge thing. The main thing is like getting all these supplies, getting all this equipment, making a cosplay, finding out what works, what doesn't, making adjustments, all the things you need to experiment with makeup, all the things you learn online or talking to other people. The community that goes around cosplay is so huge. There's so much communication that goes into it, so much learning and trying and failing, and this is all really well depicted in this anime. And out of all of it, one of my favorite scenes in the entire anime is the first time that Marin goes out in a cosplay. She gets overheated and needs to sit down and cool off and unzip the strip down a little bit out of cosplay. And this is so relatable. It's one of the most relatable experiences in all of cosplay, is taking a break out of cosplay. I cannot count the amount of times I or a partner or a person in our friend group have had to go and do this and had to just relax for a little bit, because cosplay is a lot of work. Through and through, it's a lot of work to express your passion for a particular medium and to want to kind of dress up and feel cool, to feel like you're this character. The rewarding experience of people coming up to you excited that you're dressing up as a character they love, taking pictures of you. These are things that are all very relatable and very core aspects of the cosplay community, of being a cosplayer in general. One of my favorite cosplays I ever did was when I cosplayed as the Great Saiyaman from Dragon Ball Z, and the amount of times people came up to me excited to take a picture, it just fills your heart with so much joy just to act out and be this character, you know, to have fun and to be silly and goofy and to go to conventions and have this experience, and to see how well this anime captures those aspects of it, along with the other aspects of just making the outfit, of understanding the outfit, speaking to other people in the community, learning more about taking pictures, about all the kind of things that go into this. It is such a perfectly done hobby anime. And there's some aspects of it, especially very late into the season, that are a bit inaccurate or a bit weird or not something I ever really had experience with, but overall I think it's incredibly successful in capturing the feeling of cosplay. Now there are a number of very anime moments in this. Like there's one scene where Marin strips down to bikini so they can do measurements for their costumes, and you know, all those aspects are a little bit heavy-handed with all the fan service that they include, but I understand why they exist. I think it's a little unfortunate how many times there is this kind of fan service, but it doesn't really persevere throughout the entire series. A lot of episodes don't really have any kind of fan service to them outside of just being a person in cosplay, and it's absolutely no worse than what the majority of anime do. So yeah, there's some fan service, it's unrealistic, but it exists in there, and if you watch anime, you know it's gonna happen, so like whatever, just kind of write it off. Now to talk more about the actual anime itself, this was animated by Cloverworks, who is one of the big anime studios out there, who also did Horimiya, which I praised a lot from last year. And My Dress Up Darling in ways feels similar to Horimiya in that it's a really good rom-com that's excellently animated. I wouldn't say their art styles are completely similar, but their feeling from their art, especially the lighting and the coloring, do have a lot of shared aspects to it. So if you like the visuals and animation of a show like Horimiya, then you're gonna like the visuals and animation of a show like My Dress Up Darling. There's a lot of similarity there, especially in lighting. In the past couple years, I've really noticed a big improvement with a couple of studios, especially Cloverworks, in the kind of lighting that they do. There's a kind of shimmer and sunlight to them that you just really didn't get from anime before that, and it's nice to see that more and more in anime. It gives the anime a more polished look to it. While I have for the most part praised this anime, and I do recommend it for people who want a good rom-com, the one thing I'll say is that the story itself isn't the most groundbreaking thing. It's a hobby anime that focuses in on a hobby that they really capture accurately, but if you want an actual plot outside of that, it isn't going to be anything outside of pretty standard rom-com tropes. Not that that's a deal breaker with a rom-com. I don't think a rom-com has to be the most groundbreaking, exciting, new kind of plot out there. One of my favorite anime of all time is Toradora, which is a rom-com that can feel really standard to a lot of people, but I'm okay with that because the relationships in Toradora feel real enough that it really gives me what I'm looking for in a rom-com, which is a nice romance. Now the romantic aspects of My Dress Up Darling don't really stack up to Toradora. I don't think it's going to be my favorite rom-com of all time, but this is only the first season in the beginning of this story, so it's a little unfair for me to really judge that until you get further into it. I think the cast of characters, including the supporting cast, is really good, and our main two characters, Wakana and Marin, are both relatable in their own different kinds of ways. One of the things that actually really sticks out to me is how much Marin is actually really attracted to Wakana, and how she openly expresses that internally, at least repeatedly, and I think that's really refreshing for an anime to do. There's this kind of feeling that characters don't ever really admit the feelings that they have for another character to themselves. They just kind of keep it in and pretend it doesn't exist. But, you know, that's not really true with Marin. She's pretty true to herself, and I like that aspect of it a lot. I don't really think I have a whole lot more to say here. Overall, I think My Dress Up Darling is a really great hobby anime. It really accurately captures the feeling of being a cosplayer, of getting drawn into the cosplay community, of that kind of entrance into what cosplay is and going to these kind of events. While its main plot may be littered with a lot of different types of rom-com anime tropes, overall, I really think it's a really fun experience all the way through with these characters, and the anime animation is really beautiful. Overall, it's a really good anime, and I think a must-watch for anyone who's really into cosplay or wants to get into cosplay and just wants to experience a little bit of the community in some kind of way. Other than that, after this video, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break here to work on some other projects. I have a whole bunch of videos that I'm really working on that are a bit bigger than what I'm doing here. These kind of off-script videos are a lot of fun. I love talking about modern anime, but I do want to do something that's a little bit bigger here, so I'm working on that right now with some friends, and you know, hopefully in a few weeks we get something out here for you, so keep an eye out for that. So like this video if you like it, comment below if you want to talk about the anime, if you have any cosplay stories I'd love to share. I would love to hear about some cosplay stories because cosplay is so fun, and I love hearing about the different ways that people enjoy this really prominent aspect of the community. And it's one of the things that I think is really so cool about anime is that there are so many people who go out and cosplay. It's a lot of fun. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos similar to this. I want you to have a great day, a great night, or whatever it is you're having. And stay rad.